Hello and welcome to Nithrania YouTube channel. My name is Branislav Berec and this is my list of top 100 games of all time as of 2024. I would say autumn 2024, and this is my top 50. So games on positions 50 to 1. In the previous video I went through the list of games on positions 51 to 100. I also talked about how my gaming taste has changed, and there were some games where some people would argue why those games are so low. They would expect those games to be higher on my list, but that's how my gaming taste has changed. I no longer enjoy certain types of games, certain game mechanics as much as I enjoyed them earlier. So let's move on to my top 50 now. And as I said in the previous video, this list was a little bit of a surprise to me as well. Especially top 10, you will see some really unexpected games in top 10. And also looking at the games here on positions 40 to 50, these are games which very accurately describe how my gaming taste has changed and what kind of games I enjoy more and more and more recently. So let's get started. Position number 50, Welcome to. It's a flip and ride, roll and ride, flip and ride type of game. I already had one in the bottom 50, and there are some others in this list. Welcome to or Welcome to the Moon, it doesn't really matter. This type of flip and ride game. The first welcome to the original version, Welcome to, when I first got the game and we played the first game, there was the sheet or the pack of sheets, I think 100 of them, and I took the game to the 1 week vacation that we had with friends. We almost we consumed like 50 of those sheets, at least 50 of them. We played the game constantly over several days. We played and played and played over and over again. We liked it so much, all of us. Simple rules, nice decisions, and short playing time, and we enjoyed it a lot. And I still do enjoy it. Welcome to the Moon has a different twist, different types of maps. It's basically the same game with new maps. So Welcome to or Welcome to the Moon, both of them, I love these games a lot. One of my favorite flip and ride, roll and ride, anything and ride games. Number 49 is a game which oscillates around the top 50. It was 49, then outside of top 50, now again 49. And one of the very important factors that I considered when making this list is how much I enjoy playing the game, how much fun I have and how much I enjoy either the whole game or at least certain parts of the game. Sometimes the game is great, but most of the time I struggle, and even though the game is great, I really don't enjoy it that much. That's why the games are lower on the list. And there are some simple games, easy games, where I have fun every single time I play them. And this is also the case for tumbling dice. It's a dexterity game, basically. You are rolling dice on the wooden game board, and you multiply the value of your die by the area of the game board. The farther it goes, the higher the multiplicator. You can push other dice of other players out of the board. That way, they lose victory or they don't gain those victory points. This is just a pure fun. Every time we play this game, it's a lot of fun. Minimum player, I mean, even playing it at 2 players is fine, but playing at 4 players, sometimes even 6 players, that's a complete mess. But we have fun. This is a filler 10 minutes game. I love it so much. So 49, tumbling dice. 48, 39 in the previous iteration of this list. Caesar sees Rome in 20 minutes. That's the successor of Blitzkrieg, another game which takes like roughly 20 minutes to play. 2-player only game. And in this one, I like Caesar more than Blitzkrieg. It's not a pure area control game, but it is a area control, but not only area control. I like this game mechanics. I like how simple it is. Again, and I have fun every time I play it. It's not how do I say it? It's not the Blitzkrieg has these types of units, and it's more a military type of game. That's not really my cup of taste. Caesar is also military, but it's more ancient military, and I like it simply way more than Blitzkrieg. And actually, I like it a lot. That's why it's in my top 50. I like that there are basically two different ways how to gain victory, and again, 20 minutes, simple rules, easy to explain, easy to play, nice filler, love it. So 48, Caesar, sees Rome in 20 minutes. 47, another game, and looking at the list for another 5 or 6 games, all of these games will be light to medium, with simple rules, but lots of fun. For me personally, lots of fun to play, lots of enjoyment, and high replayability. And number 47 is very interesting type of deck building and racing game. It's called Expeditions. In this game, you are building your deck, and the twist is that there's a hexagonal board, and you're trying to reach the far end of that game board, where these relics are hidden. And not only you have to get there, you still have to have enough movement points and digging points to dig that relic and bring it back home. But your deck of cards is at the beginning it's very small, and you barely get to the middle of the map. Every time your deck runs out, you have to get back to the starting position, back to your camp. Really, really interesting and nice twist for the deck building racing type of game. So you need to build your deck in order to get farther and farther into the jungle, and later not only get there, but also dig the relic. Once you dig it, it's a card which is in your hand, does nothing, so it just clogs up your hand, and the first player to bring back 2 relics wins the game. Very, very easy rules, variable setup, different types of actions that you can take with these cards. I love it. There is a similar game to this, which is pure... Well, it's actually deck building and racing as well. It's a little higher on the list, but I like this one a lot as well. So Expedition 47. 46 is a new game to the list, and I think this is going to climb even higher. I love this game so much. Simple card game from the creators of a game which I already talked about. It was in my where it was it my number 61. This is the same publisher, Ketchup Games, and 46 is Castle Combo. I love the art. I absolutely love the art in this game, but I also love the gameplay. Simple rules, easy gameplay, easy to teach, easy to learn. High replayability. I think I played this game over 20-30 times already, and I don't have enough. I would play it over and over again. The more I play it, the more I like it. There are so many different combos and combinations. I just like it so much. Fantastic game. You only play 9 cards. You draw, the draft. You take 9 cards and put them into 3x3 grid, and each card gives you some scoring opportunities, and you just sum up all the scores from all the cards, and that's it. All the points. I love the game. I love the game. 46 is where the game was when I made the list. I think at the moment it will be even higher. That's how much I love this game. 45, another lightweight game, but this game has seen a lot of play, not only in our club but also at home with so many people. It looks beautiful, simple rules. It's called Harmonies, where it's actually something like Azul. You're taking these tiles. These are not ceramic. These are wooden tiles, wooden discs, and you build a small countryside. It looks beautiful on the table, and as you build your small countryside, you also take cards, and based on the requirements on the cards, you place small cubes on those tiles. These cubes represent animals, and you put these animals into your countryside, and then you score it. Looks beautiful, and I enjoy playing it with new players, people who don't play board games at all. We teach them this game, and they enjoy it. They like it a lot. They want to play again. And I have to say, after playing it so many times, I still enjoy it a lot. And I think it really deserves to be so high on my list. 45 Harmonies. 44 is a pure racing game, the one which we played incorrectly for many years, just because I misinterpreted the German rules. And it's called Ave Caesar. This is an old game. I think it's 1986. And in this game, you have a deck of cards, and when you run out of cards, you no longer move. So there's a circuit. I think there you go 3 laps, and the values on your cards, when you sum up all the values, it is maybe 6, 7, 8 more than what you need to complete those 3 laps. So when you go, the track is two lines wide, sometimes only one lane, whatever is the word. In the corners, the inside is usually just one field, one step. Outside is more, 2, 3, 4, depends on the actual curve. So if you want to take the if you want to go efficiently, you have to go on the inside. But if there is already someone there, you have to go outside, and you are losing these points. So there is a risk that you will not make it to the end. And there is another rule that if you are blocked and you cannot move, you have 3 cards in your hand. You always have 3 cards, and you choose one of them. And if you cannot move full number of spaces, then you cannot move at all. However, what we used to, as I misinterpreted the rule, what we did is that you had to discard the card. According to the standard rules, you just wait. You don't move, you just wait. If you cannot move full number of spaces, then you don't move at all. But if you even discard the card, you lose that card, which means in most of our races, nobody made it to the finish, or maybe just one player, and it was a lot of fun. We deliberately blocked each other, and it was a lot of fun. Now, with the correct rules, it's still fun. It's not as much fun as we used to have, because it was really brutal, but even this is still fun. And yeah, it's a short game, plays very quickly, and it's just pure racing. And it's not always the first player who wins the game. You can stay back, save your cards, because there's another beautiful rule that the rider at the front of the field is not allowed to play the high value card. I mean, there are cards with values 1 to 6, and you are not allowed to play 6. So you have to wait for someone else to overtake you so that you can play these 6s. And that's also another beautiful twist. Just simple, fun, very simple, very fun racing game. One of the best racing games I have ever played. Ave Caesar 44. 43, a completely different type of game. This is more like a chess game with fewer pieces, with only 5 pieces. It was number 35, then 35, now 43. I still love the game, and it will definitely stay this high. It's Onitama, 2-player only game, where there are 5 cards, and these cards determine how you can move your pieces from which space to which other space. There's this pattern on the cards, and after you play the card, you hand it over to your opponent, who doesn't have access to that card immediately. The opponent has to play one of their cards, and then they take the card from you, and then you take the card from them afterwards. Beautiful game design. Very, again, simple, high replayability. there's a lot of depth in this game, and that's what I love. This is the kind of game which I love. Simple rules, huge depth of the game, high replayability, Onitama, I love it. I love the first expansion, which has which just simply has more cards. Other expansions with additional pieces, I'm not a huge fan of those at all. So the base game plus the first expansion with just more cards, and that's it. That's for me, Onitama 43. 42 is a game which is an abstract game. I also love abstract games when they're done well. This one was 48 and now 42, and it's Djinns, Y-I-N-S-H. A game from a series of games with these strange names. This one, again, a two-player only game, similar to Tic-Tac-Toe. You try to make the line of 5 of your pieces with interesting twists. Every single game in this series has some interesting twists. In this one, you have not only your pieces, but also rings. Every time you put down a piece, you also have to move one of your rings, and you move the rings over the pieces in one line, and all those pieces flip to the other side. They're double-sided. One side is white, one side is black, so one side is yours, the other side is your opponent's. So every time you jump with your ring, and you have 3 rings, all those pieces in that line flip to the other side, and that's a beautiful twist. When you make a full line, one of those rings is placed on the scoring track, so instead of 3 rings, you only have 2, so you have fewer options, and then your maneuverability is decreased, and that gives the opponent a chance to catch up. Fantastic game, I love it. Number 42, abstract game, Djinns. And again, even this one, it will definitely stay there, because this is the type of game with simple rules, depth, a huge depth, immense replayability, love it. 41 is a game which which is dropping down quite a bit from number 9, then 18, and now it's 41, and it's Viticulture Essential Edition. It's Essential Tuscany Essential Edition. I mean the latest one, the one with the game board for 4 different seasons, because there have been several iterations. The latest one, I find the best one, the most streamlined. Why is it dropping down? Again, it's it is a little bit. I like playing this game, but sometimes I feel that there's a little bit too much luck in this game. Well, sometimes I draw 3 cards, like the visitor cards, and they do nothing useful for me. Other player draws 2 of them, and both of them are fantastic, and he just gets some powerful bonuses. And I feel like this is a little bit of imbalance, that even though I try to go down the order of the players, so I take the disadvantage of going 3rd, 4th in the player order, and for that I want to have some additional bonuses, additional cards. I draw those cards and they're completely useless for me. And that's something which after playing this game over and over again, sometimes I feel like there is a little bit too much of a luck for me still in this game. However, it's still 41. I love this game a lot. I would play it anytime. I like the theme. It is a very thematic game, and I really enjoy playing this game a lot. The reason it is dropping down is this. At least it's my impression that sometimes the luck plays important role, more important than I would like to. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I played incorrect. Maybe my strategy is bad, but who knows? So 41, Viticulture Essential Edition. Number 40 is a game which drops down from 23rd to 40, and that's Beyond the Sun. There is a new version of this game called Beyond the Horizon, which came out recently from Cranio Creations. I still like Beyond the Sun better. just because Beyond the Horizon has two types of meeples, settlers and soldiers, and they have to be distinguished by these small, super tiny, micro little cardboard. It's not even a token, it's a super tiny mini token. I hate those. It's super fiddly. I don't like it. I still prefer Beyond the Sun. It's not the best looking game. That's one of the reasons why it's dropping down. And I don't really know how to play this game well. Sometimes I feel like I'm not doing well, and when we sum up all the points, I win. In other games, I feel like I'm really doing well, and then I end up third. So I don't know how to play this game well, but it doesn't mean I don't like it. I still like it a lot, but there are simply better games than this one. Maybe not even better looking games. The only real downside is how the game looks. I mean, the visuals of the game, and also that it's there is hardly a theme. Yeah, it is a space theme, but I honestly, if you ask me to name one technology, I don't know. I don't care about the names of those technologies. I don't care. All I care about is what it does, the effect of those tiles. And there I could name, or I could say, I could tell a couple of those. But if you ask me about the names, no idea. So for me, it's almost like an abstract game. There is no theme. Unfortunately, it doesn't look good, and those are the reasons why it's not higher on the list, because otherwise I enjoy playing this game a lot. And not only me, this game gets some play in our club. So 40, Beyond the Sun. 39, game coming down from 21st to the 39th, and visuals of this game is also quite unusual. It's Troyes. I actually like the visuals of this game. What I don't like is that it's also completely, almost completely abstract. I don't need to have themes in the games. Hive, I have Hive in my list. Djinns, Onitama, Castle Combo, all these games, they don't really have a theme. These are just games with some symbols, and I collect symbols, so I don't really need to have the theme in the game. But when the game is bigger, I would like to have some theme, and that's where Troyes is. That's the reason why Troyes is only at the position 39, because for me it is also a pure abstract game. It's a beautiful the mechanics, dice placement, and utilizing your dice. Your dice can be bought by other players and all these things. I like this a lot, but there's just no theme at all. And all I'm looking at is the values of dice, the color of the die, and what these dice are doing on all those cards there. And another thing which I don't like is that you have to remember what all the end game goals are, because you have a few of them and other players have the remaining ones. You need to know this, because you need to know which of these goals will be in the game. So a couple of small things. It's still 39. It's 39. It's still high, but there are a couple of these small things why Troyes is dropping down a little bit, and there are other games higher than Troyes. But I still I would play it anytime. 38. This is another game which oscillates a little bit. It was 24, then 43, now coming up to 38, and it's Suburbia. One of the best, if not in my list, the best city building game. Another game where the visuals doesn't help the game. I know this has to have the graphics. I'm talking about the original version now. The graphics and the visuals is functional. It's not nice. I mean, it doesn't look bad, but it's not really nice. It's functional. I know there is the new version of the game with some graphics. I'm not sure I like it more than the old one. This is similar to to another game which I'm still going to talk about. Yes, I'm still going to talk about it. Another game where actually I don't mind that it looks as it looks, but the gameplay is fantastic. I love the gameplay. I love how you have to first create your income, then increase the population, then still work on increasing your income and then the population, and you think about which tiles to take, how to place them in your city. Sometimes some symbols you have to look at other player tableaus and their boards. I just love the game mechanics in this game. It works so brilliantly. So 38 just because of those visuals. I really don't know how else to do it. The new version, for me personally, did not really solve that problem, because you need to see these symbols. You need to see easily. You need to be able to easily see what's going on in your city, which symbols you have, where you have them, and how it impacts the placement of all other tiles, and how the placement of a new tile affects your scoring and so on. So it needs to be functional, but at the same time, it doesn't look that good. So Suburbia 38, and I still have the original version with the first expansion. The new version overpriced. I'm not interested. So 37. 37 is it's not the only one. I think there's another one, I hope, much higher. Yeah, it's not much higher, it is higher, but this is a game where you lay out several game tiles. It's called Istanbul. And you have your tokens, and every time you move you have to leave some tokens behind, and then you collect these tokens, and wherever you end up your movement you perform actions and you try to get to a certain number of victory points. It's one of the games where you simply lay game tiles with different effects, different actions. It's not the only one. I'm going to talk about the next one in a few minutes, and you try to figure out the best way how to move with your tokens, and how to collect those victory, how to collect resources, how to collect whatever you need to get and turn it into victory points. Again, simple rules, high replayability, high different types of setups. I can't remember the English word now. Whatever. So every time you play, the game board looks different, so you always have to think about how to plan your movements so that you win this race. I think you have to collect 5 or 6 victory points. So how you make sure that you are the first player to reach this number of victory points. And like simple rules, high replayability, and variability is the word that I was looking for. High variability. And lots of depth. I like this game a lot. So Istanbul, number 37. It moved up from just being below 50, top 50. Now it moved into top 50 because the more I played, the more I like it. Now, another game which dropped down a little bit is it was 13, then 13, and now dropping down to 36, and it's Merv, the Heart of the Silk Road from Osprey Games. I like this game a lot, and the only reason why it's dropping down is that, sometimes it's easy to collect a lot of victory points just because no other player is interfering with me on what I do. For example, there are these market cards where I can get a lot of points by collecting these sets, and if nobody else is going for market cards, then I'm free to do. And nobody's going to take it away from me. There must be someone blocking me from taking almost everything from that market. Otherwise, I'm going to get a lot of victory points. And that's where that's one of the reasons why this game is dropping down. I enjoy it a lot. I have fun every time I play this game. It has, well, not really simple rules, but there are 6 actions in the game. And you only take 12 actions, but during these actions you get to do multiple things. And scoring is another way which not every player enjoys, because you have to have your meeples in the I think it's called palace, and you have to get there before other players do. But when you do, then you don't build your engine. So that's another level of decisions that this game is giving you. So yeah, tough decisions, tough game to play well, and sometimes the only reason is that if one player gets uncontested in certain area, then it's probably an easy victory. So other players need to know what to do to keep the balance. So that's the only reason why it's dropping down from 13 down to 36. But yeah, it's 36. It's really, really high. Now 35 is a new game on my list because it came out recently, I think like 1 year ago, and this is another game from the category of simple rules, lots of depth, lots of replayability, and it's Mille Fiori, 1,000 Flowers. It's another game similar to Azul, where you just place a few of you place your plastic tiles, but these are translucent tiles. And after you place the tile, you score a certain number of victory points. And it also involves simple drafting. Every player has 5 cards at the start of every round. Everyone plays 1 card simultaneously face down. You move the cards to the next player. And then one player after another reveal the card and perform action with that card. There are several different areas on the board where you can place your tile, and every area scores in a different way. And the more tiles you have in certain area, usually the more victory points you score. It doesn't always apply. So you have to build up your scoring opportunities for the end game phases. So simple that we can teach this game even to people who have never played board games. And yeah, it's fast. Sometimes it's so satisfying when you make a turn and you score 50, 60 victory points. I think our winning scores are somewhere around 250 plus minus 50, it depends on the game. But if you score 250 points and with one turn you score 50, that's super, super satisfying in later phases. And every player can make this kind of satisfying turn. So, and it looks really, really, really beautiful. So I love this game. Mille Fiori, number 35. 34. 18, then 36, now 34, so pretty much stays where it is. And this is another game with simple rules, small box, looks beautiful, and especially with 3 and 4 players, it's so pleasant to play. And it's Parks. It's Parks. It's just such a nice looking game. And you still have to think about what and how to progress in this game. It has expansions. I'm not a huge fan of these expansions. I know the base game is maybe a little flat, but again, with new players and with I like the first expansion. The first expansion is fine. I would like to combine. I don't like these these camps, because they are you build this this track, which is like a main game board. You build the track, and these camps are sort of outside of this track, and I don't like that. Or you have these additional cards. I don't like that. What I like are the new types of goal cards. These are made better in this expansion, so I would like to use these goal cards, but without these camps. So somehow a little bit of a combination of the game base game and the first expansion, because I like the simplicity of this base game, and I like how easy it is to explain. It's easy to play, looks beautiful. All these cards are really, that's just a piece of art, and that what helps to bring this game high on my list. As I said, 36, now 34. I still enjoy playing this game, even with seasoned players. Usually when we are with seasoned players, we don't choose to play Parks, but every time we have someone new, what do you want to play? When we choose Parks, we have fun, we enjoy it as seasoned players. And these new players, when they see how it looks, they're immediately hooked, and the love for the board games is coming out. They really enjoy it, they like it, and they see, okay, so this is how board games can look like, this is how they can feel. Wow. So that's why Parks remains one of my top choices for people who have never played board games and they want to try something. Well, Parks is always there. So 34, Parks. 33 is a game which was on a position 21, then dropped down out of top 50, and now coming back to 33. It's Snowdonia. I would say slash Alubari. Alubari is some kind of a lighter version of Snowdonia. Alubari is about making teas, making tea and tea plantations. You can leave it there, whatever, but let's say Snowdonia. I have a big Snowdonia Master Deluxe Edition, whatever it's called, with all kinds of expansions. What I like about this game is that it's basically a worker placement with 2 workers, sometimes the third if you have the resources for it. And with these 2 workers, you have to plan ahead your actions. You need to know how to advance in the game. And that's the simplicity. That's a simple design. Again, quite simple rules with which you can develop your strategies in any way you want. Lots of replayability, lots of variability, lots of depth in this game with just 2 workers, okay, 3 workers if you want. One of the best worker placement games I have ever played. So coming back into my top 50, Snowdonia. 32 is another train game. It was at number 50. It's climbing up to 32. I think it will stay somewhere here around 32. I already had 18XX series. If you haven't seen the previous video, it dropped down out of my, not only out of top 10, it dropped down out of top 50 and almost out of top 100. Then I had Ride the Rails, and now I'm coming here with Mini Express. Another game with simple rules, because here you also build railroads and you buy shares of, there are I think 4 companies. But this is such a super clever design. And 2-player games, I've seen people playing 2-player games of Mini Express, and towards the end of the game, they were standing. They couldn't sit at the game any longer. They stood up because they were so nervous. What is the other player going to do? It was so tense, and this is what the game can be, especially in a 2-player game. This is like almost a chess game with such a simple rule set, and there's so much depth. There are so many decisions to be made. Every single turn matters. Every single decision matters in this game. You are only building a short track. I mean, it's not a big game. It's really like a small box like this, and you have to make right decisions at the right time, choosing right components and right actions. Otherwise, you can give your opponent some advantage. I love this game so much with such a simple rule set. It's incredible how simple rules, what a fantastic game experience can create. Even in higher player counts, 3 players, 4 players. In 4 players, it feels like you are a little bit losing control of the game. But in 3 players, 2 players, 3 players, it's super fantastic. I love this game a lot. So 32 Mini Express. Another train track building game, but this time it's underground. It was 34, now it's 35, 31, and I think it will stay at this level. It's Maglev Metro. I like how it looks. When you build there are these plastic acrylic translucent tiles with these metro subway lines, and when you build the lines on the game board, it literally looks like the map of lines, the subway lines in the actual metro. It looks really, really beautiful, and the game mechanics are so clever again. You try to pick up a passenger, and transport the passenger with your train to the desired destination. There are train stations of different colors. The passengers have different colors. So you want to pick up a passenger of a certain color, any color, and then deliver that passenger to the train station of the same color. Then you take that passenger and you put it on your player board, and the passengers then become some kind of tokens or whatever, and they increase the abilities of your trains, and that can be speed. So how many train stations you can go through with one move, how many passengers you can pick up, how many passengers you can transport at the same time, how many passengers you can drop off at those stations, and all these kind of things. So you are improving your stats by delivering these passengers to their target destinations, and it's a race. And the player who collects the most points at the end is the winner. There are some objectives. Again, simple rules, so many tough decisions to make, a lot of depth in this game, and infinite replayability. I love this game. So 31, Maglev Metro. Number 30 is a game which I have already mentioned slightly shortly in a previous video. It was on number 16, then 23 and 30, so moving down a little bit. The reason it's moving down is that there are more games coming higher and higher than this game, but I still like this game a lot. It's still number 30. And this is it the highest? I think it's the highest pure drafting game. It's maybe the father of the drafting game. It's 7 Wonders. This is such a game with very, very easy rules to learn. This is something that we can easily teach players who have never played any board games before, or they don't have maybe they have played, but they don't have that much experience. And you can play the game simultaneously with even 7 players. So when there are 5 of us around the table, and we think about, okay, what are we going to do? What are we going to play? 7 Wonders, we can play simultaneously. And it's an easy game, and even I played it over 100 times physically on the table, and I still enjoy it every single time I play it. This is a game which you can play. For me, the replayability is definitely there, unlimited replayability. You still do the same thing. It's about how you draft, how you draft the cards, and how you develop your small civilization compared to your neighbors, so that you can score the most victory points. It plays very, very quickly, and it has a lot of depth, again, and a lot of replayability. Pure, clean design. It's a drafting with nothing else. I mean, there are games where drafting is just a part of the game. For example, in Blood Rage, I don't have Blood Rage on my list, but in Blood Rage you draft the cards and then you use them in the game. I mean, in other game mechanics of that game. So drafting is just part of the game. This is pure drafting. I think I used to have Sushi Go in my list. I think it didn't make it into top 100 this year. Because that's another game which is just pure, no it didn't, which is just pure drafting, but 7 Wonders is, it looks nice. I really enjoyed the anniversary edition, which looks even more beautiful than the original version, and every time I play it, I still enjoy it a lot. So number 30, 7 Wonders. Number 29 is a new addition to the list just because it kept being outside of top 50, because I have not played this game enough. Now that I have played it enough, it is climbing up high, and I think it can actually get even slightly higher, although anything in the top 30, a competition there is very, very tough. So number 29 is a Naqala type of game, 5 tribes. This is the only game where I would say I'm able to accept the first expansion with these purple meeples, but I love the base game as it is as well. And this is a game which I just keep playing and playing and playing and enjoying. Again, such a simple idea with very simple rules. You take the meeples, a standard Naqala game mechanics. You place them one by one, and where you place the last one, you perform action. Nothing else. Just this kind of simple mechanics makes a fantastic game with lots of depth, lots of replayability, bidding for turn order. When you see some clever moves, you want to go first. So how much you pay for being first? Fantastic decision all the time. And all these Djinns with some special abilities, it just adds a little bit to the base game already. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. So number 29, 5 tribes, the Djinns of Naqala. And as I said, with the first expansion, I'm okay to accept it. Other expansions, I don't like them at all. Number 27, we are almost halfway through. I have to jump in because somehow I forgot to mention number 28 when recording the original video. And it will be a pity because 28 is one of the most thematic games I have ever played, at least one of the most thematic Euro games I have ever played. It's set in the Victorian England era, and players represent wealthy families trying to increase their reputation. It's called Obsession, and it's every time we play this game, and we play it a lot, every time we play it, we have a lot of fun because this is the theme. Everything you do in this game is really thematic. You try to host events in various areas of your estate, and these events have you invite certain guests. Guests are represented by cards in your hand, and these guests are sometimes less prestigious, sometimes more prestigious. Some guests require certain servants with certain specialization, so you also have to have those servants. You have to hire the servants over the course of the game. You have some at the start of the game, but you need more. The more people you need, the more guests you want, the more servants you need to have, and those servants get tired. So when you host an event, on your next turn, these servants are not available. So you really have to have more servants. And as I said, they have to have certain specializations. Not every servant is suitable for every type of work at home. And you also you attract more guests, more prestigious guests. You collect additional funds so that you can develop your estate, enlarge it, build additional rooms, gardens, terraces, whatnot, and you try to hold and host additional and more prestigious events, and for that you score victory points. So fantastic thematic game. Every single turn you host an event, you need certain guests. You may have a political discussions where you can only invite men because men are interested in politics. Then you can have a tea party talking about flowers and maybe some similar events, literature events that's suitable only for women. You may have sports events where you need, for example, you have a tennis match, so you need 2 guests, 2 people or 4 people. Really thematic, and I just enjoy it so much because of the theme, because I can really imagine very lively how it was during that time, and we can see it in many different movies. So this game, everything you do in this game is so thematic, and we just have so much fun playing this game every single time. So 28 Obsession, I can definitely see it staying where it is, or maybe going even slightly higher, because such a great theme and such a great implementation of theme into the game mechanics. That's a unique thing in the board game industry, I have to say. Fantastic. So 28 is my number 28 is Obsession. Number 27 is a new game to the list just because it came recently. It was, if I did this list 1 year ago, it would be higher. It would be in top 10. The only reason why it's dropping down is that it's long, it needs 3 or 4 players, and it needs players who know how to play it well. And it's Hegemony, whichever way you pronounce it, lead your class to the victory. Super thematic game. This is how thematic games should be done. Everything in the game is 100% thematic. That's why it's easy. This is quite strange to say that it's easy to explain. It has a lot of rules. But once you explain it, it's easy to understand because everything is thematic. Everything is thematic. Every class in the game with their special actions, it's easy to understand and easy to wrap your head around because it's so thematic. You understand why workers want to strike. You understand why the capitalists want to sell wherever they want to for the highest profit. They don't care if they sell it to workers or middle class or to the state or they export it. They don't care. They just want to make the most money. You can easily understand that if they want to attract more people, they need to provide or they need to offer higher salaries. All these things are just easy to understand. Highly, highly thematic. I absolutely love playing this game every time we play it. When we play it. Because this game takes 4 hours at minimum to play. And ideally you want 4 players. Or at least 3, because then the state doesn't... there's no state in the game. You can still have a good game of 3 players. But ideally you want to have the 4th one because it adds a little bit more flavor. It's great at 3 players. It's absolutely fantastic with 4 players. But you need to know, these people need to know how to play it well. Because if they make bad decisions, then they can easily screw up the game and they can, one class or one player can simply make another player easily win the game just because they make bad decisions. Now, this is a game which you probably don't play for the victory. You play it for the victory, but I enjoy playing this game even though I don't win the game. Just because what we do in the game, what happens, what kind of stories it is developing in front of us. But it just, getting 3 or 4 players to play a game for 4 hours, it's such a rare occurrence, I have to say, in the last year. And that's the only reason why it's not higher. Why it's no longer in top 10 where it was. It definitely was there a couple of months ago for me personally. It dropped down to 27 just because of this, just because how difficult it is to get to the table. But when we get it to the table, it's a blast. It's an absolute blast. Then 26. This is another game where it's difficult to get it to the table just because there are huge, huge barriers to entry. And those barriers are rules. This is Pax Porfiriana. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I have 2 Paxes one after another. The first one, the 26, is Pax Porfiriana. This is the easiest, one of the easiest Paxes to get into. So this is definitely not the game where there is a huge barrier to entry. It is actually not. The new version has just been kickstarted. I'm not sure I like the visuals more than for the first edition. It's chaotic. The first edition is chaotic, but it has its beauty because of its chaotic visuals. But the actual gameplay is so easy. You need 1 or 2 games to really understand what's going on, but then it's really, really easy. And it beautifully illustrates the core concepts of Pax games. Whether it's Pax Porfiriana, Pax Renaissance, Pax Pamir, and all other Paxes, this is some kind of a core concept. And in Pax Porfiriana, this is the best entry-level Pax. And I enjoy it personally a lot. That's why it's on 26, position 26. It's fun to play. It's so different from all other games out there. It's so different from everything else. It is card-driven. It's highly thematic. It's highly interactive. You have to think about what other players are doing, what they want to do, how they want to achieve the victory. So Pax Porfiriana, fantastic, fantastic game. The easiest, I would say the easiest, the most pleasant Pax as the entry-level Pax. The next one was number 9, number 22, then 42, and coming back to 25. This is the Pax Renaissance, Pax Renaissance. I don't care if it's first or second edition. Second edition looks way more beautiful, but actually it's still the same game. So Pax Renaissance, this game really has a strong barrier to entry because of the rules. I remember myself playing it for the first 5, 6, 7 times and still not being able to remember what all these special abilities do. these events, because you can have an event which involves knights and rogues, but not pawns. Sometimes it involves that, but knights and rogues, but of the different colors in one area, but then the other action takes knights and rogues, only knights of one color from many different areas. So difficult to explain. I mean, this is an example where, and this is not the only game. I think all the rules coming from Phil Eklund are, they want to be very realistic, and it is, the more realistic it becomes, the more difficult it becomes to understand. And I think these games would benefit from sacrificing a little bit of this realism for playability and for ease of play. So here, I think after we played the game, now it's also available on Board Game Arena, and when we played it there, and after I played 7, 8, 9 games very, very shortly, one after another, I finally got into that game, and I finally understood all the thematic connections behind it. But it took me more than 10 games. I mean, literally more than, when I counted together, more than 10 games. When you don't play this game for quite some time and then you come back, at least for me, we haven't played it for like half a year, and then I came back and I was not able to explain the game to the new players or to everyone else at the table. We all played it before. We sat down to play it again. We wanted to refresh the rules, and I was unable to refresh those rules. I just wasn't. We had to watch the video again or reread the rules quickly, just because I did not understand the rules. That's how difficult it is for me, and not only for me, it was for many people to get into the game. But once you get into that game, and once you understand everything, and once you understand what players are trying to do and what you need to do in the game and how to achieve it, then it becomes a gem. But really, a barrier to entry is, I think I've never seen such a high barrier to entry in any other game that I've played than this one. That's why it was dropping down, but now it's coming back because I personally understand well how to play this game. But to get new people into this game, even when now I am able to explain it, even thematically, but even that, after new people play this game, they're like, okay, let's do something. Let's play something else. And that's a pity. That's a pity, because then I don't really have anyone to play the game with, and that's a pity. So Pax Renaissance, I still find it a fantastic game, and I enjoy playing it every single time I do. But it's just difficult to get new people to play this game. Okay, moving on. 24, it's a game which is moving up. It's still moving up from 38 to 31, now 24. And it's a deduction game called Cryptid. This is a game which which looks horrible. I mean, it has to be functional, and it is functional. And I enjoy and I appreciate how it looks, because otherwise it will be almost impossible to deduct where this what is it, the relic? I mean, and whatever you're looking for, some kind of a relics again in somewhere in the area. Your goal is to use the clues from other players to find out where this relics or whatever it is, where it is located on this hexagonal board. When I first saw it at Essen, I was like, this is where presentation really matters. I looked at it and it's like, no, that's not interesting. That it doesn't have my interest. It just looks awful. Then a couple of months later, I had a chance to play it, and I was blown away how fantastic it is. So I bought the game, and the more and more we played it, the more I liked it. It's such a clever deduction system. I love it. Every player has a certain set of clues, and then you have to think about how to make notes for decoding and deciphering the clues from other players, so that you can find the one and the only space on the game board where that relic is located, and that's where the clues are positive. So it is located somewhere. It is located somewhere. Then you can implement the negative clues. It is not located, and there's a clue. It is not located, I don't know, three spaces away from water. It is not located. And that makes the things even more complicated. So if you think you are experienced enough with positive clues, try it with negative clues, and it gets another completely new level. I love deduction games. This one is by far the best one for me. So Cryptid, the more I play it, the more I like it. It's climbing up 24. 23 on the other end is the game which moves down a little bit. It was as high as 5, then 16, now 23. So it's still high, and it's Barrage. Again, one of the best worker placement games out there. The only reason why it's dropping down a little bit is the fact that the more I play it, the more I understood that it's not really about generating electricity, although it is, but it's more about building. And that's something that for me is a little bit of a disappointment, that it's really more about building rather than generating the electricity. But other than that, it's just highly interactive. I love the fact that the water is not a resource which is spent. As the water flows through your powerhouses, it simply continues flowing further down the line, and it can generate electricity in other powerhouses, even in your own powerhouses. And fantastic design, fantastic game design. Yeah, the seasoned players easily crush the new players. But this is a game where learning the strategy is not that difficult. So even if you have new players, you can still teach them how to play. You can teach them the strategy basics, and then if they like it, they can play it. The thing which I don't really, the expansion, the Lee Water expansion, the Lee Water project expansion, is something which was designed as a one game together with the base game. It was then split into a base game and the expansion. The only thing which I don't like there are some of these projects. Some of them are clearly better, some of them are clearly unusable. So there, I think this is some, I don't know if this was designed as some kind of a trap. Okay, because I don't see how I could use some of those project tiles and some of those houses. I don't know how to use them in any kind of game situation. So my question is, why are they there? Maybe they simply left them there and then focused on the base game. I don't know. So that's like, I've seen players winning the game completely ignoring this expansion module. Even if it's included in the game, they ignore it and they easily win the game. So my question is it then important to have it in the game? Is not the base game sufficient? But then you see other players using one or two buildings and really using it efficiently and winning the game with that. So I don't want to play it without that expansion, but I would want the expansion to be a little bit better designed, so that if it's there, it could be used better, slightly better. But these are small minor things for me personally. It's 23. It's a position 23 game, 23rd game of all times, of all the games I have ever played. I love Barrage. It's just moving a little bit down. So that was 23. Now 22 is a game which was again, it's slightly moving down from 10. It was then 7, then 17, 22. So still pretty high. And the only reason is that I don't play it as much as I played it before, but now we are playing it a little bit more on Board Game Arena. And it's Lewis and Clark, The Expedition. Lewis and Clark is a fantastic game. Basically, it's a race game, a very slow race game, where you try to get, so you try to go through the map of the United States. It's not really a map, but through the area of the United States to the west coast. and you are crossing the Indian area and our area of native Indians, and you have character cards, and all these character cards do something. You have some basic character cards, and there are many, I think 52 or whatever, special characters, and all these characters do something. They give you resources, they give you movement points, because you move on the river, then you move through the mountains, then again through the river, through mountains. You can design the track any way you want. There's a basic track, and then you can put some tokens, and you can make it more complicated. And you have to get resources and material to actually navigate through the track and to be the first to reach the finish line. All the characters are double-sided. On one side there is this ability of the character. On the other side is the number of times you can activate that number of Indian meeples, which means how many times you can activate a ability. And you always need two cards. One of them gives you the ability, and the other cards gives you the number of activations. And this is a clever system. So if you have 6 cards, 3 of them will be used. You will take 3 turns. With the first, and on each of your turns, you will use 1 card as the ability, and the other card is the number of activations. And this is a deck building, so you need to build your deck. You need to get more powerful cards so that you can increase the activations. And it's such a great design. Every time these special characters, they come up in a different order. They randomly come to the display. There is a race to get the best ones. Sometimes you can combo characters with smaller powers, with not so powerful characters, but together they are very powerful. And this is, you simply have to figure out, and the more resources you have, the slower you move. So if you have too many resources, even if you move forward, when you try to move the camp, you actually have to move back, and you don't move, and you move along the river very slowly. Great design. I love it a lot. There were some balance tweaks. There were some rules changes, which means the game is popular, and which means the designers want to make it balanced, and they did, and I love the game. And yeah, it's 22. I played this game so many times that with one of my gaming groups, we had to actually buy a new game completely, because those basic cards, they were so it was almost impossible to read what's on the cards, because we kept them in our hands all the time. I mean, we played it over 100 times, definitely. Then I bought a new one and sleeved it. So that's how many times I played it, and I still love it. So 22, Lewis and Clark. Number 21. Number 21 is a game which is new to my list, just because somehow I've never had a chance to play that game. And when I finally had a chance to play it, I was completely blown away. And it's from Splotter Games. Splotter Games make very unique games. And I will talk about Splotter Games later. Actually, the next one is also a Splotter game. This is Bus. It's a game actually from 1999. I think that's the original printing. This game has a really simple set of rules, really simple rule set. Highly interactive gameplay, highly strategic. This is a game where you win by gaining 11, 12 victory points. There is a victory points track which reads up to 20 victory points. I've never seen 20 victory points, never seen anyone reaching that number. So this is a game where you have a very few number of victory points, which is great, unlike many other point salad games where you are easily exceeding 200, 300 victory points, and everywhere you look on the game board, everywhere there are victory points. Here you have to work super hard to get 1 victory point. And it's essentially, it's about, again, pick up and deliver. So you take the passenger and you move it to the desired destination. There are 3 types of destination: home, work, and bar, pubs. In the morning they want to go to the work. In the evening they want to go to the pub. and at night they want to go to home or something like that. I mean, three periods of day, and they want to go to work, home, or work, pub, home, something like that. It doesn't really matter. But you want to get them, so you build the tracks, you build your connections, and then move passengers from one place to another. But there are very few passengers. They're limited, and there is a huge fight for these passengers, and you try to block other players out of these passengers so that you can transport them first. Sometimes you change, you play with the time and you change it. So if they are at work, in the next turn you still want them to stay at work or move to work, and that's how you can mess up with the plans of other players. Again, simple rules, huge depth of this game, huge depth. It's definitely not for everyone. You can do things that will mess other players' plans, and that's where some people don't like it. But for me, this is a core of a good board game. It has to be interactive. It has to be strategic. It has to have a lot of depth. Simple rules, something like chess. I mean, if your piece is captured in chess, that's what the game is about. If you plan something and other players do something and outsmart you, that's the nature of the game. And I just love Boss. I love it to pieces. I just want to play it more and more. Fantastic game. As I said, I've never had a chance to play it before. Now I do. Now I did. And yeah, I love it. And it's just climbing up and up. So 21 Boss. 20 is a game which was on position 2, then 3, then 10, then 20. The only reason why it's moving down is, again, similar to other games. We just don't get it to the table. And the reason we don't get it to the table is that it's long. It can be a 3, 4, 5 hours game easily. And it's Food Chain Magnate. It's another game from Splotter Games. Another game which doesn't really look beautiful, but it has to be functional. I love how it looks, actually. I love that visuals. But this is a game which players don't... it's difficult to get new players to play it, because Splotter Games people have clearly expressed that if you cannot lose the game in the first turn, on your first turn, then there's no reason for that first turn to be in the game. So you can lose the game on your first turn, and it can be frustrating. So when we have new players learning the game, we always try to help them do right decisions. But after that, even when we navigate them through the first couple of turns, later they simply get crushed because they don't know how to navigate the game well. It takes a couple of games to get used to it, but these games are long, and not every time every player is just willing to do it. So we rarely get it to the table, and that's the only reason why it's dropping down from my top 10 to top 20, but it's still one of the best games I have ever played. I love it to pieces. It's a fantastic design, but if people who know how to play it well get into a prize wars, this can really drag for 4 hours, and that's where I'm not a huge fan of these longer games any longer. Similar to Hegemony, anything that plays anything that plays for 4 hours can be quite challenging to get to the table, and that's the case here as well. So number 20, Food Chain Magnate. Number 19, it was 11, 10, then 8, now dropping down to 19, and it's Race for the Galaxy. The only reason why it's dropping down is that there are a few other games getting higher than this game, but this is one of the best engine builders I have ever played. I've played it over 100 times physically on the table, and I will play it anytime, again and again and again. With first, maybe even a second expansion. The other expansions were a complete miss for me, but I absolutely love what this game does, how you can use cards as the resources, as planets or developments, and also as goods on those planets, how there's a simultaneous action selection, and every player does the same. I mean, they all do these actions that someone has chosen. So similar to what was the game? It will come up shortly. It will come up shortly. I'm not going to talk about it yet. So similar to other games where you do the same thing. One player chooses an action and everyone performs that action. Great game, great design, fantastic. Small box actually that fits these expansions as well. I love it to pieces. Race for the Galaxy. Number 18 is a game which was 13, then 8, 9, coming down to 18, and I think it will stay in the top 20 because this is a gem. This is fantastic game. Again, from PD Verlag. We've already had Crossing Oceans, we've had Imperial, and now we have Concordia. Another example of a game with simple rules, lots of depth, lots of variability and replayability. Fantastic game with 2 players, 3 players, 4 players, I think even with 5 players. I love this game so much. Every time we play it, I just love this game so much. For new players, this can be a little difficult to understand that the game, the victory points come from the cards that you buy from the display. In order to do that, it's tempting to build and do a lot of stuff on the map, but at the end of the day, you need cards, and cards is what scores victory points. So that's where some new players are struggling a little bit, but other than that, simple actions. You have a deck of cards, you use all those cards, and then you get them back even earlier. You don't have to use all the cards, but you have to be planning ahead what you want to do, when, where. Do you have resources? How to get resources? Again, simple, very, very simple. I think this game has like 7 pages only, with half of them being large examples, pictures and examples, but there's only 6 or 7 actions, very simple actions, and it's about how you combine these actions to achieve what you need to achieve in this game. Great design, fantastic design, I love it. Number 18, Concordia. Number 17, game that was on the position number 14, and then 17, so staying in this line, in the same position, and it's Grand Austria Hotel. Again, an older game, and it still remains one of the best games I have ever played, with very simple actions. There are basically 5 actions you can take. The 6th action is a joker, which means you can take any of those 5 other actions. These actions are defined by dice, how you roll the dice, and the value of each die determines which action you can take with the die. The more dice in a certain area, the more powerful the action is. Clever system. And all you do is you try to build your hotel, get the guests, you feed them with some cakes and wine in the restaurant, and then you want to prepare a room for them and accommodate them. You have few other cards which are your staff. These are difficult to play. I mean, they're very expensive to be played, but when they play them, they give you usually powerful bonuses or endgame scoring bonuses, and there are a few objectives over the course of the game. So again, I'll repeat it maybe more times. Simple rules, a lot of depth in this game, unlimited replayability, and this is a gem. For me, this is a gem. I absolutely hate the expansion. I don't want to see played with the expansion. The base game is fantastic as it is. The more complicated it gets, the less fun it is for me. I don't enjoy that expansion at all. So base game for me, completely 14, 17, so around top 15 for me, and it will definitely stay here. Every time I play this game, I love it. I have so much fun and so much enjoyment. So that's number 17. Number 16, this is a game which also uses the game mechanics where one player chooses an action and then everyone else plays performs the same action. It started at number 47 just because I played it 20 years ago, and then I haven't played it for a long time. It was also almost forgotten for me just because I didn't have anyone to play it with. And it's Puerto Rico. So it debuted at 47, but now then it jumped to 5. Now it's at 16. The only reason it is at 16 is that well, it's pretty high. It's very high, but it jumped down from 5 to 16 just because it suffers from what I have already talked about in the previous video, that some people just don't want to play it with me, or they don't want to play it because they don't play it well, or because me and some other people, we played it more, so we are better at this game, and when they play it with us, then they lose. So why should they bother playing? And this is something I really don't know. If you like the game, I'm happy to teach you the game. I mean, teach you the strategy of the game, and let's practice. Let's practice. Let's make. Let's deep dive into the game, and let's talk about the game. Let's talk about a strategy, so that everyone can learn from it. This is my message. If you don't want to play just because other people are better at this game, that's a pity, because then we don't play a fantastic game. I can play online, obviously, but I want to play with live people as much as possible. So Puerto Rico, that's why it's a little bit lower, because we don't play it as often in real life on the table. But it's still at 16. It's 16. It's top 20. Everything in top 20 is a super fantastic game. So moving on, number 15. This is a game which was 12, then 11, then 11, then 15. So it's somewhere between top 10, top 15. And this is, I would say yes, this is my, looking at other games. Yeah, I think this is the best worker placement game in my list, and it's Agricola. Another oldie, another very, very old, another old game. I think it's almost like 20 years maybe. I still like the original version. No expansions, other than the cards expansion, the occupations and the prophecies, and the prophecies, occupations, and mine. I've played Czech version so many times that I don't really recall the English version, the English names for it. But anyway, cards. There are many decks, E and I and K. I mean, elementary, interactive. K is I think like complex. Whatever. All these decks, the more cards, the better. Ideally, you draft the cards at the start of the game. But even if you don't, it's just a fantastic worker placement game. Fantastic game. The best one I have ever played. You have to feed your family, it's fine, but before each feeding you have 6 actions or big actions, so you have enough time to prepare the feeding for your family. You can get blocked out of the critical actions, so you have to plan ahead. You have to fight for the first player for the next round. Definitely, every decision matters. Everything you do in this game matters. Some people complain that you have to do everything in this game, which is a valid argument. But on the other hand, I like that you don't score victory points, a lot of victory points for specializing in one thing, and then you max it out, because then it will be, I think, quite difficult to balance. If you have 4, I don't know, vegetable components, then you're maxed out on victory points. It doesn't matter if you have 4, 5, 7, 8, 10. It doesn't matter. You still get 4 victory points, and that's what I like about it. Actually, that's what I love about this game. You have to do everything. You have to focus on everything. You will not max out everything, but you have to make sure that you have a little bit of everything. And certain areas you score more victory points. Absolutely brilliant. I played this game over 150 times, and I still love every single play of this game. So Agricola, number 15. Number 14 is a game which dropped down just because I somehow like other games a little more than this one. It was 3 and 4 and 4, and now it's 14. So dropped out of top 10 because there are games which I'm so surprised they are there, but they are. And this is, so number 14 is Brass Birmingham. Brass in general, I don't care if it's Brass, Birmingham, or Lancashire. I love them both equally well. The Lancashire is, maybe I even like Lancashire a little better than Birmingham. On the other hand, I love this beer resource in Birmingham. Lancashire is more, a little bit more cutthroat, but Brass in general, fantastic game, great design. You play 2 cards as 2 actions. Again, 6 simple actions, lots of depth in this game. You need to plan ahead. You need to use tactical opportunities created by other players. You need to make sure you don't create these opportunities for other players. I could talk for hours about this game, how much I love it, how much we play it. We play it a lot. This is another game for which I bought the insert to make the setup easier. This is very, very high on my list. It will stay high on my list. It was in the top 10, and we still play it quite often. I don't see how this could go further down. It's just a fantastic game. It's been here for I think from 2007, if I'm not mistaken. So almost 20 years, like 17 years. The new version, obviously, the Birmingham looks beautiful. So the visual is there as well, and it's great. It has great mechanics. So number 14, Brass Birmingham. Number 13 was number 15, and before that it was it was not in the list just because I didn't have a chance to play it, and after I played it, I got the Kickstarter version, the new modern version. After I played it, I immediately fell in love with it, and this is the highest. Yep, this is my highest train game. This is another pick up and deliver game, and it's Age of Steam. This is another one which is more than 20 years old. I think the original version came out in 2002, I think. But another simple rule set, very simple rule set. All the rules. The game sequences on one of these game boards that are on the table. You get some money, you build a track, you try to move passengers from one location to another, and as the game progresses, you increase your abilities, you increase the number of cities you can go through, so the distance you can use to move the passengers. You build your tracks, and you try to build the tracks in the strategic positions, strategic places, building strategic connections between cities in the strategic spaces. Unlimited replayability for me. It has many new maps with some tweaks in the rules. I absolutely love it. I can play it anytime. And although I don't get it to the table as much as I would like to, just because other players are not really into train games, and even if they do, this is a game with no luck at all. There's absolutely no luck. Yeah, there is a random draw of these cubes, but other than that, there's just no luck at all. You need to plan well ahead, and people can get lost in this game. It's another one where it's not. It takes time to master this game. And I think I can make a video about playing the games in depth and playing many games and just scratching the surface. This is a game where I love to go deep into the strategies of this game and play it over and over again, because there are so many things to discover in this game. That's why I love it so much, and that's why it's on my number 13. Number 12 is a new game in my list, but it's not a new game at all. It's actually quite an old game, but for many years I only had a German version. And even though it's basically almost language independent, the reason that it was German, and some of the cards have some text, and it was in German language, and although we had the translation on the paper, for some reason it just wasn't attractive for us. Then the Czech version came out, the localized version, and we played it, and we played it again and again and again, and we love it, and we have a lot of fun with it. And this is a game with, again, simple rules, unlimited replayability, unlimited variability with so many tracks built by other players. I'm talking about the Quest for El Dorado, a racing deck building game where I found 40, 50, 60 tracks built by the gaming community. I printed them, so every time we play the game, we can build a completely different track. You start with the same basic cards, and you try to improve the cards based on the terrain, based on the track, and you try to navigate the track and to be the first one to reach the end point, to reach the finish line. And it's just so much fun, so much fun. I don't know whether this language, slight language dependency really caused us that we were not interested in playing it, just because we didn't really understand everything on those German cards. Now with the Czech language, we love it. We love it, and yeah, I was almost thinking about putting it into my top 10, but yeah, it's still 12. It's 12. I can play this game with new players, with seasoned players. It's short, it's quick, easy, simple, lots of decisions to be made, and lots of fun. Lots of fun. Sometimes when you have these choking points and you stand there, yeah, just a lot of fun. That's one of the reasons why this is so high. I have so much fun the whole time I play this game. Every time I play this game. That's why it's so high. Number 11 is a game which was on number 7, number 6, then dropped down to 22, and now is back to 11. And the reason is it's coming back to 11 is the new version. It's called Gloomhaven, the Jaws of a Lion, which makes all the setup a lot easier. I love Gloomhaven. It's Gloomhaven. I love this game. The best dungeon crawler I have ever played. And there's no way I was able to play the whole game yet. I played over 30 scenarios, but every time I was about to play the scenario and set the scenario up, it was so much time to set it up. I play it solo just because I want to make the best moves possible, and I enjoy playing it two-handed. So, setting it up, then playing the scenario, and then tearing it down, it was a lot of time, a lot of extra time, unnecessary extra time. Now with Jaws of a Lion, this is obviously much easier with everything already almost pre-set up. This is such a clever idea. I don't have the Frosthaven. I have not finished Gloomhaven at all. There's no reason there's no way I would be able to play and finish Frosthaven. So when I have time, I can get back to the Gloomhaven. It's still there, right behind the camera. Also with the Jaws of a Lion, I love the system. I love these cards, how that system works, how all these characters are so different to play, so much fun to play. It's a beautiful puzzle. I hate these modifiers. I think I played with the house rule that these misses are simply not there, or whatever. I mean, that in a critical moment when you really need to deliver the hit and you miss completely. I mean, yeah, it's thematic, but in the original Gloomhaven, this was a big issue for me because I spent so much time playing the scenario, setting it up, playing it, and then I fail. I just didn't want to do that. There was just a big frustration. In a Gloomhaven, Jaws of a Lion, it's not so much an issue. It still takes some time to play the scenario, but setting up, tearing it down, it's not that difficult. So I'll say, okay. But that's the only thing. I obviously use apps to help track the health and all the abilities and all the statuses of the characters. But yeah, this is a fantastic system, fantastic dungeon crawling system. So Gloomhaven, number 11. Top 10. And here we have a couple of games which definitely will some people will ask questions, how come this is in my top 10? But yes, it is in my top 10. And I'll start with the first one. This is a game which I mentioned earlier that Res Arcana, I think it was on, where it was, yeah, my Res Arcana is 52. And I said the only reason it dropped down, because it was quite high on my list, Res Arcana was, give me a second, 15, 17, 20, so in top 20 and suddenly it's 52. The only reason is that there's the Vale of Eternity. This game does very similar things that Res Arcana. Some people may argue that it doesn't, but for me, I would always play the Vale of Eternity over Res Arcana. It's the comboing possibility of the Vale of Eternity is immense. Every time the cards come out in different order, obviously, and there are other players around the table, and they also focus on something. I've seen such a fantastic combos. I've seen players building a combo, and they've accumulated 3-4 victory points over the course of the game, and then in the last turn of the game, they generated 65-70 points with one super mega combo. Fascinating to see. I mean, that's a something spectacular to see. I've seen players being able to generate 6, 7, 8 victory points every single turn and outpacing these people who were preparing the big combo. One more turn in the game and the big combo person would win the game with that big combo, for example. I was able to see a person or a gameplay where one person created a fantastic combo, which took him 3-4 turns to create, but then the person was generating like 15 points every turn and easily won the game. It's because when you know which games are available, which cards are available, and I did a strategic video in the Slovak language. I looked at all the cards in every single color, how they can interact with each other, and how fantastic, what kind of fantastic combos you can create with those cards. So if you know what's available and these cards come together and you have them in your hand, it's so satisfying. It is so satisfying, and even seeing someone else doing it is just satisfying. Yeah, I am envious, but I look at like, wow, this is what this game can do. Wow, great, fantastic. I hate the expansion. I don't want the expansion. I don't want it. Simple, clean, super clean, easy, simple design as the base game is. I love it as it is. I don't need anything else. The game is fantastic as it is. Keep it as it is. Super great. So the Vale of Eternity, number 10 for me. I love it every time, every single time we play it, and I want to play it more and more. So the Vale of Eternity. Now the next one is actually even more surprising for me, and it's the last flip and write game on my list. So number 9, the new entry to the list, and it's Next Station London. This game I think I played it over 100 times by now, and I don't have enough. I used to play it a lot on a board game arena as well, but this is just so much fun. This is a game of skill. Some people may see it when you first play it a couple of times that it's a random game. It's not random. It's definitely not random. This is a game of skill. You need to plan well. You need to plan your tracks well, and I've played it very, very intensively for a short period of time, maybe for a half a year. I played it really, really intensively, and I was able to reach high scores every single time I played it. Then I moved on to some other games and came back to Next Station London after like 3 months, and my scores were down by like 40%. And it took me a couple of games to get back to higher scores, not to as high scores as I used to have, because it is a game of skill. It definitely is a game of skill. Also a little bit of luck, obviously, every single game, but it is primarily a game of skill. And it's so easy, so simple, with a high replayability. The variability is basically, it's still the same game. You still do the same things, but it's about how you do it, how you combine it, how you utilize all those cards, and how you generate points. Obviously, you compare it to other players. but that's it. If the round is very short and it only sees 6 or 7 cards, everyone will see only 7 cards, not just you. So the scores will depend on how long or short these rounds are, but within every single round, it's up to you how you build that track. And I love this game a lot. I don't love Next Station Paris as much. It's similar to London, but I'm not a huge fan of that Paris. I don't like Tokyo at all. It's something about Next Station London, how it's built, how it's easy to create these tracks, and I don't know. There's something magical for me about this flip and ride game. I love these flip and rides, as I said already. And this is the last one, and this is the highest one. So Next Station London, I would play it anytime, every time, anywhere. Even on the go, I can simply turn on my BGA mobile app and just play a quick game. Love it. Number 8 is another small game, and the game which I would never imagine would make it into my top 50. Another game which is a game of skill rather than game of luck. And it's Knarr. I can hear the like, wow, what? Yes, Knarr is not my number 8, and the reason why it is number 8 is that, again, I will repeat it for, I don't know, 10th time, maybe even more. Simple rule set, depth, unlimited replayability, and with that, basically, I don't need to have a variability. When you play a chess game, there is no variability. You start the game with the same setup again and again, over and over. There is no variability in terms of the setup. There is a variability in terms of what's going on in the game. So the replayability is there, and with Knarr is the same. It's about the replayability. It's a small box, very small box with a few cards, with a fantastic gameplay. Game of skill. You have to, again, it's a race to the race to 40 victory points, and how you get there. The gameplay is different in 2 players and 3 players and 4 players. It is slightly different. Highly tactical and also highly strategic. You need to build your engine, how you build how you score your points, because the first half goes very, very slowly, and then from 20 to 40, it's sometimes just 2 turns. And it goes like, and it's the end of the game. 15 minutes games. This is all, and I enjoy it every single time. I enjoy every single play. I just love this game so much. And again, small box, simple rules, lots of depth, unlimited replayability in a 15-minute game. Wow. That's why I have it so high. Easy to play with people who've never played board games, easy to play with seasoned players. And when I play this on Board Game Arena, and I play it with players who have higher elo than I have, higher rating, I get crushed. So that just confirms for me that this is a game of skill. Another game of skill. It's not really a luck. It's a game of skill. You have to know exactly what you do in this game. It's a game of skill for me. And especially with the artifacts, if you play with the artifacts, how to use those artifacts effectively. Fantastic. So that's why it's number 8. I was so surprised to see it so high. But yeah, I love it so much. In 1 hour, I can play 4 of these games, and I can have so much fun. I can play 4 games in 1 hour. Compared to many other Euro games, which take 2 hours to play, 50% of the time I don't even play, because I wait for other players to take their turns, and those turns can be quite long, so I don't enjoy 50% of my playing time. And from the other 50%, it's sometimes, okay, I know exactly what I need to do in my next 3-4 turns, so I just do my turn, and I don't enjoy another 25% of my time. So from 2 hours, maybe I enjoy half an hour. And here I play Knarr, and in 1 hour I can have full 1 hour of great fun, crunchy decision making, quick games, snappy turns. I feel like I'm trying to excuse myself, and I'm trying to provide reasoning and defend myself why this game is so high, but for me, it is simply so high. So number 8, Knarr. Number 7 is a game which was on number 6 and keeping there, and it's Saint Petersburg. Another old game, I think this comes from 2005 or similar area. Another simple card game with simple rules, and lots of depth, unlimited replayability. I'm repeating this again and again just to see, for you to see why I love these games and why they're so high on my list. Another quick game which can be played in half an hour maybe, even in this one, you generate money, then you have cards which generate points, and then you have the orange cards which may generate a little bit of money, a little bit of points, but the number of unique orange cards give you additional extra victory points at the end of the game. And it's about how you optimize all this together to score the most victory points in the game. Very simple game design, very clever game design, and I just can't get enough of this game. I love the first edition, not the second edition. I love the graphic design of the first edition. I have the first edition now, actually 2 boxes, German one with English rules because it's language independent, and I also have a Czech one. Again, when I teach this game to anyone, they immediately fall in love with it because it's so simple. There are crunchy decisions, and every time you play it, you can play it differently. There are always different challenges in front of you. So you can play it over and over and over again and still not get enough of it. And that's my case. So St. Petersburg, number 7. Number 6 is another game which is a new entry into my list just because I have completely ignored this game the year it came out. The reason I ignored it was the theme, and the theme was, again, post-apocalyptic theme. I talked about this, I think, in a previous video. I'm not a huge fan of post-apocalyptic theme. I hate that theme. I don't like it. I don't like the idea of humanity destroying everything and then saying, "Oh, we need to rebuild." I just don't like that game. I'm not saying we are stupid enough to destroy everything in this world. I think we are. There are people here who are capable of doing that. However, I don't want to see it in games as a theme that we have destroyed everything and now we want to rebuild everything. Are we clever now that after we have destroyed it? And when I got Radlands into my hand, the box, I opened the box. The components look beautiful, fantastic. Then I took the rule book. It's a small rule book. I opened the first page and there is like a short comics, and it says, "We have destroyed everything. The water is everything that's left, and we need to fight over it. And there are other people who want the same. So we better hit them hard and fast first." And I was like, is this really a theme? We have destroyed everything. Now we only have water, and what are we going to do after we have destroyed everything? We're going to destroy those few other people who are left out there. So I said, no, this is such stupid theme. I mean, literally stupid. Sorry, guys, it's stupid. If this is the thinking that we have, then we are probably doomed to end up in such a scenario, such a post-apocalyptic scenario. So that's why I simply put the rulebook back into the small box and immediately sold the game. I didn't care what the game is, how it plays. I didn't care because this is such a stupid theme and stupid thematical introduction. We have destroyed everything, so what can we do now? Well, we have to destroy all the remaining people there just to finish the job. Jesus. So that's the reason why I skipped that game. But then I had a chance to somehow I had a chance to sit down and play the game, and I was blown away by the gameplay itself. This could have been a completely different type of theme. It could have been anything else, anything. It is what it is, whatever. but the gameplay is fantastic. The concept that both two-player game, both players use the same deck, and from the same deck, you don't construct your deck. It's like in Magic the Gathering or any other type of game, you don't construct your deck. You get the starting card. All you construct is your 3 base camps, because the game is about destroying 3 camps of the other player. And these camps have special abilities. All of them have different special abilities, and combination of these special abilities define the strategy for you for the game. That's a great concept. Then all other cards you get from the common supply, from the same deck, and it's about how you use those cards and how you develop a strategy together with your base camp. The gameplay is phenomenally great. Phenomenal great. It's a pity that the game has a theme it has, or at least this thematic introduction. I don't mind having kind of a game. Let's have a game. Let's have some kind of a sports. Let's call it a sports. This is how I look at the game. So look at the board game, that it sort of simulates some kind of a new sports, that we destroy the camp of the other player. And let's say this is just type of a sport, but because otherwise I just don't get over that theme. But the gameplay itself is fantastic, and the games can be various. You can use different strategies in that game. You can use special abilities of your characters that you put into play. The other player can also put these characters into play. It's all and all these events. In addition to these events, are great addition. I could talk for hours about the gameplay here. It's just the fact that you take one deck of cards and you get a fantastic game with just one deck of cards. And I've never seen that deck run out. I've never seen it, and I've seen so many different games, so many different strategies based on the different combinations of the base camps applied in the game. Great. And it's a game of skill. It's a complete game of skill. Totally. This is not luck based. This is skill. You can play it and rely in such a way that you rely on luck, but then if the other player plays strategically, you'll get crushed. So this is a game of skill. Okay, enough. Radlands, number 6. Going to number 5. 5 games remaining. Now, number 5 is a game which was on number 2, and I think it will stay high. It will stay in top 10. It's the last game from the Splotter games. Another ugly looking game. This is the Great Zimbabwe. Another simple set of rules, although 7 or 8 pages, let's say 7 pages, is not that simple, especially when thinking about this logistics. When you move, when you transform resources from one monument through another and through another to the final monument, this logistics chain can be a little difficult to understand, and especially how the craftsmen block certain resources. That's a little difficult to wrap the head around. However, once you get that, this game is another beauty of design. There are a couple of gods in the game, god cards. Each god has a super strong special ability. And you get one for the whole game. You get just one. If you use it, you get a special ability, but there is another fantastic design, is that you need 20 victory points to win a game. It's a race. The first player to reach 20 victory points wins the game. When you play a card, craftsman, god card, there are some other cards as well. Each card adds additional victory points to your target score. So it's not 20 victory points any longer, it's 23. Suddenly it's 29. You play another one, it's 34. You cannot go over 40. But the more powerful benefits you get from these cards, the more victory points you need to score to win the game. Other player may simply play 1 or 2 craftsmen, maybe, and instead of 38 victory points, they only need 23 or 25, whatever, to win the game. So maybe they will score fewer victory points, you will score more with your superpower, but they will reach the end of the game's condition earlier because they only need 25. You need 38. You need to make this decision during the game. Do you take that card? Because if you do, you will permanently increase that victory point requirements for you. Great design, great design. In addition to that, when you build these monuments, you score these monuments, but also in order to build them, you need to reserve those resources. You build craftsmen, you sell those resources and the products that are needed to build up these monuments. Great design, great design. Ugly game, again, it's Splotter games. It just looks ugly. That's one negative for this game. But other than that, the design is so unique, so fantastically unique. I've seen games which took quite some time to get completed because we all were getting slower, very slowly to the end game requirements. I've seen super quick games when someone built up a quick engine and we were not able to react because that player used the god power and some other powers very, very effectively, and we didn't do anything to prevent it. We didn't see it maybe. So I've seen many different strategies, many different developments of the game. Such a great experience. So the Great Zimbabwe, one of the most unique designs in the gaming industry, I have to say. And again, comes from Splotter games. So that's my number five. Number 4 is one of the games which again, number 4 is the game which is one of my most played games recently. It started at number 28 just because I didn't play the game enough. But now that I have played it enough and I play it over and over and I play it constantly, it climbs up to number 4 and I can actually see it getting even higher. It's Ark Nova. This is a game which I consider to be a little bit luck-based because there are cards and sometimes you wait for the cards and the cards don't come out, and yeah, it's a luck-based, and that was my opinion of the game, which is completely wrong because this is a game about efficiency, and you don't have to wait for the perfect conditions and to score the conservation project at the highest level. You have to be super efficient with those actions. So this is a game of super high skill, and the more I play it, the more I understood how to play it well, the more I understand how to play it well, and the more I deep dive into the strategy, the more I appreciate the design, the more I enjoy and love every single play of this game. As I said, I play the game almost constantly on Board Game Arena. I play it with the friends, we play it live at the table, and I hate the expansion. It completely breaks the game. In my opinion, it completely breaks the game. I love the new maps, the alternative maps, number 1 to 8, with a little bit of tweaks that came out recently from Capstone Games and Forlan Spiele. These games are better than the original ones, so I have all printed them. I printed them all. So we have 8 maps. From each map, we have 3 copies. I don't want to play it with 4 players, so we play 3 players so that every player has the same map. So that's how much I love the game. It's a skill. It's based on skill. I mean, you have to play it well. And now that we do play it well, we play it with a certain players who love the game. The games are better and better and better and more competitive. And I love every single one of them. So Ark Nova, number 4, and I think it will actually climb even higher. Number 3 was number 3 before and number 3 before, and it's another super unique design. It's called In the Year of the Dragon. This is a game which you can end with fewer components than you start with. This is a game where you some people say it's a COVID year simulation because it has 12 rounds simulating 12 months. There's nothing going on in the first 2 months, and then since the 3rd month, there's one catastrophe after another, and you have to face these catastrophes. But you do it by you do basically 12 actions per game. in every round, you pick one of the actions on the table, but the actions are grouped in the number of groups equal to the number of players. So if there are 7 actions, there are always 7 actions. In 2-player games, it's grouped into a group of 4 actions and 3 actions. In a 3-player game, I think it's grouped into 3, 2, and 2, and so on. When you take an action from one group, you mark it with your marker, and when any other player wants to take the action from the same group, they have to pay 3 coins. You don't have enough coins in this game, and you need to pay taxes twice during the game. This is just this is a struggle, literally, because you need to build a castle. You need to get more characters into your castle, because your turn is you take an action, and then in the second part of the turn you take one new character, and new characters give you some new symbols, and these symbols help you with carrying out actions. And the game is to score victory points. Each palace you have scores 1 victory point at the end of each turn, but you can score additional victory points through decrees, and there are some other events like a festival. You need to have tokens which you gain through certain actions. This is a game which is so difficult to navigate. You constantly need to make sacrifices and decisions how to stay ahead on certain tracks, so that you can be the first one to pick the action. But if you're the first, then you get a lower number of symbols, which means your actions are not as powerful. Every game is a struggle, but every game is for me, it's like an enjoyable struggle. I love the puzzle. I love the challenges in this game. I love every single move, that every single move matters. Every single decision matters in this game. And yes, you can end up with fewer components than you start with. But when you learn how to play this game, you will end up with more. And then it's really a tough competition with other players. One of the, again, very, very unique designs in the gaming industry. And it survived, for me, it survived for many, many years. And it's difficult to get to the table just because players don't enjoy making these tough decisions and dealing with difficult challenges. But when I get it to the table, I'm absolutely delighted. So number 3 in the Year of the Dragon. Number 2. Number 2 is a game which was number 1 and number 1 and number 1 before, and it's Pax Pamir 2nd edition. Yes, I have a new number 1. So Pax Pamir 2nd edition, it's for me personally the best Pax game out there. I've played it so many times. This is another game into which I have deep dived. The game I have deep dived into. I love all the strategies available in this game. I love how variable it is. How new characters are coming out every game in a different order. Players make different choices. The dominance cards, the scoring cards come out at different times. And it's like a chess game. I absolutely love it. And the more I play it, the more I know the game, the more I can enjoy the actual story unfolding behind. Because it is about, there are real life characters and places and events, and when you see how it unfolds and what's going on the map, it actually creates some kind of a story. So the more I know the game and I have time to read the flavor text and actually to see whom I have in front of me in my tableau and what other people have laid out and what's going on. And we have a banker, and someone kills that banker because we need it for the prestige. And I love it. This is again, Pax games are unique type of games. Be it Pax Porfiriana, Pax Renaissance, Pax Pamir for me is the most enjoyable. And it's so unique. I love playing this system. It's both like a political, tableau building, geographical combination of everything. But at the end, it's about how you score points. And I love how simplified Pax Pamir 2nd edition is. 6 relatively simple actions, but it's about how you combine these actions to get to the highest number of victory points. So Pax Pamir 2nd edition, number 2. And we have a new king, or I have a new king. I have a game which is my new number 1, and honestly, I think this is gonna stay my number one for a long time. This is a game which currently I have more than 400 games already played on Board Game Arena. The reason I played on Board Game Arena is that it has fantastic implementation. I can play many games in a short amount of time. I can play turn-based games, which means I don't play real time. When it's my turn, I log in, make my turn, log out. I've played many games in real life as well, and this is the best racing game I have ever played, and I don't know if I'm going to play any better game than this one. It's Heat. Heat is the hit for me, big hit. As I said, over 400 games, 450 in total, including the real life games, and I play more and more and more. And after 450 games, I love the game more and more and more, and I've never ever seen this with any other game that I played in my life. And I don't see anything else putting Heat down from number one. I've seen so many different things in this game. Fantastic. Actually, just yesterday I played a game which was, if someone wrote a script for the Hollywood movie with a complete the breathtaking and nerve-wracking finish, that would be the game. In the last corner, I was with a completely risky maneuver. Someone got ahead of me, and he was going to win the game. But in the next turn, he ended up just one space more, and he would win the game. He would cross the finish line, but he didn't get there. So he ended up just before the finish line, and I crossed the last corner. And in the next one, he had a strong finish, but I had like a miraculous finish, which I have tried to prepare, but it worked out well, and I beat him just one space. So for me, it was like I was going to lose it because he made a super risky maneuver, but it worked for him. So I thought I lost the game, and then he didn't cross that finish line by a tiny margin, and then by a tiny margin I actually beat him on a final straight. As I said, breathtaking, nerve-wracking finish, and these kind of things I can see in many games. I've seen so many fantastic maneuvers. I've seen people coming back from behind. I've seen people being far ahead and not winning the game, just losing the steam. And I still don't have enough. I'm still learning some nuances. I'm really deep into the strategy of this game. It's another skill-based game. If you think it's about luck, it's not. You can play it so that you rely on luck, but that doesn't mean you play it well. I made a video about strategy in Slovak language. There's just so much skill to this game. And I see the same players, same people still being on the highest ranks in Board Game Arena. I compete with those players. I have difficulties winning. Even after 400 games, I still miss something that those players have, and they keep high elos, high rankings. But I keep loving this game. With new additions, new tracks, Japan and Mexico, there are new strategic opportunities, and with more expansions coming out, I just can't get enough of it. I can't get enough. And as I said, I can hardly see anything that can bring Heat down from number one. I've never played a game which I would still love so much after playing it 450 times. And still enjoying it more, and still wanting to play more and more and more. So that's why I play on Board Game Arena, because I can play 10, 15 games simultaneously. I can make 2 or 3 turns per day. That's an easy thing to do. And that way I can play so many games, trying different strategies, trying different combinations of upgrade cards and all these things. So yeah, I just love it. I love that Heat is not a simulation. It's an arcade type of game. It's for having fun. The game doesn't try to simulate the real racing and finding the best racing line. This is about rhythm. and managing your heat. For me personally, it very much reminds. I think this would suit cycling game more than the racing game, because in cycling the heat would be like a fatigue in cycling. You can get ahead, you can get into a breakaway, but if you are losing steam, then other players, other riders will catch you and overtake you on the finish line. Obviously, there would be no limits in the curves, but a lot of mechanics in this game they remind me of cycling mechanics rather than racing. But I don't care. I don't care because it's such a fantastic racing game, the best one I have ever played, and the best game I have ever played. So that's it. That's Heat. That's my number one, and it will probably remain number one for a long time. Okay, I'm done. There are a couple of games which would definitely make it into my top 50, which I played just in the last couple of weeks. One game definitely deserves mentioning, and it's Voidfall. I've never played it before. The reason I've never played it is that the first time I've seen Voidfall was on UK Games Expo a year ago. Not this year, but on a previous year, just before it came out. And one of the designers, David Turci, was setting up the game right next to me. In UK Games Expo, there's one huge hall with hundreds of tables, definitely literally hundreds of tables with tabletops, and players can play there. That's a fantastic convention for me. I love that convention. So we played a game on the table, and David Turci was setting up Voidfall right next to me, literally next to me, 1 meter away. And he was setting up the Voidfall because he was going to play it with Paul Grogan and some other people. And we were playing some other games there, and it took David about like 1 hour to set the game up. And now, if you know Voidfall, you know this is a realistic time, actually. Especially with the deluxe galactic box, whatever. I have the standard edition now. I have the Czech localized version, so I've never played this English version, just because when I saw how much time it takes to set it up, and then he spent another hour or more explaining the game, and I was there with Peter, a friend of mine, and we were like, okay, it takes 1 hour to set up, 1 hour to explain the rules. Is this what we want to play? No. As I said, I no longer enjoy games that are long with lots of rules, lots of components. It's just something that I don't enjoy as much as I used to enjoy it. And these games just wouldn't make it in my top 50 or top 100. However, so that's why I completely ignored Voidfall, and I've ignored it for a long time because I knew it's going to be in Czech language, and I knew I will get access to that game. So once I get it, I'll try it. And I have tried it, and I think I played it like 3 times. I love it. It's great. It's definitely in my top 50 at the moment. It would be in my top 50. I need to play it more. Because I feel like I'm just scratching the surface of the game at the moment. I really hate that 20-30 minute setup. I have the standard box, retail version. I'm fully happy with it. I don't need the galactic box. So my setup time is like 20-30 minutes, maybe 30 minutes at the moment. But I enjoy the gameplay a lot. It's actually, there are lots of rules, but they're not that difficult. I mean, many people say it's not difficult, but when I say it has like 50 pages of rules, how can it not be difficult? It's actually not difficult, but it's just so many rules there. But the actual actions are not that difficult to be. That's true. So the more I play it, the more I like it, and it would probably make it into my top 50. Where exactly, I don't know, but this is one of the games which I want to play more. Because it is intriguing for me, and I like what it does and how it does it. I hate that setup time, and a tear down is not that bad, but setting up the game that's a disaster. It's like a nightmare. But other than that, I really like what the game does. It's more Euro type of game. but conquering the sectors is important. You need to do that. It's not that difficult. The fights are predetermined, the battles. So there's no dice rolling, which is another thing which I like. That's the reason why I don't like Eclipse or Twilight Imperium 4. I mean, I don't like them much enough to get them into my top 100. And I don't even mind that Voidfall can be a long game, like 2 hours, 3 hours, maybe 1 hour per player. This is another game like Hegemony, whatever you pronounce it, or Food Chain Magnate, that when we sit down and play it, I love playing it. But it's tough to actually get it to the table, and I think getting Voidfall to the table will also be quite difficult. But there's just one game which I wanted to mention that it will definitely make it. And there's another one, short one, I mean, really quick game, Tower Up, which we played at SN. I brought it back home. We played it a couple of times, and I absolutely love it. Love it. It looks beautiful when completed. It's a half an hour game, even for 4 players. Fun decisions, fun game to play. Definitely in my top 50. It will be there next year, I promise. So Tower Up, that's another game. Other than that, if you have questions, if you have any other games which I've not mentioned, if you want to ask why they're not in my list, I'm happy to answer and have discussions. We obviously have different opinions, which is good. This is my list, quite strange for quite a lot of people, I've learned already. And I understand, yes, my gaming taste has changed quite a bit. Not super dramatically, but it has changed. I can see it. I enjoy these smaller games, simpler games with lots of depth and lots of replayability, more than long games. But I also enjoy long games when they're good and when we get them to the table, but it's more and more difficult to get them to the table. And yeah, nothing's gonna beat Heat. Nothing's gonna beat it. I don't see it. And looking forward to another expansion coming out in March, as per the designers. So that's it. That was my top 100 games of all time. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you next year with my next iteration of this list. And also looking forward for your comments. If you like the channel, you can support the channel on the Patreon page, also by clicking on the thank you button under the video. And that's already enough. I'm done. I'm tired. Again, thank you very much for watching, and talk to you next time. Bye. I would like to thank everyone who has ever supported the channel, and especially the current supporters listed on this page. If you too would like to support the channel in creation of videos like this and other video tutorials and other content on this channel, please visit the patreon.com/Nithrania.